welcome back to Melgar Media. This is Whatcha Watchin, episode 4. We're going to do the show a little bit different today. I'm going to start off with some of the things that I'm watching and things that I'm finishing up on and new series and some old series that are getting into their later seasons. And then I'm going to do some announcements of new upcoming stuff that have been popping up here and there that I'm kind of excited to see, and some of it that they should just leave in the bin. But let's get started. Here we go. We'll start off first with Ozark. Of course, everybody is into this show. It is in its final season, the first part of its final season. So if you watch those first 7 episodes and you're like, what is this cliffhanger? They didn't answer any questions. There's still another 7 episodes to come. So don't give up. There's plenty more. I do think that it's going to end on a good note. They might have drug out this series just a little bit longer than I would have liked. I feel like that they could have ended it last season, and let them ride back off to Chicago into the sunset, and I would have been satisfied with that ending. That being said, the first few episodes, first 3 episodes of the show of this new season, it didn't really hit too well for me. I thought there was just too many really common sense decisions. And I get that it's fiction, but there's some of it that, common sense should prevail. And there's just a lot of really, really obnoxious decisions by a lot of the characters. Of course, Jason Bateman kills it per the usual. And I've always been a fan of his since, back in the 90s, early sitcom shows. So I will stick with this, obviously, and I'm sure they'll stick the landing. Excited to see what the last 7 episodes come up with. But yeah, it was kind of a slower, weird start, but a juicy ending to the first 7 episodes. I give it a 6.5, and the last few seasons I probably give them in the 8 and 9 region. But it's just the first part. They're building up that anticipation to give you that final bang. Hopefully it doesn't end like Sopranos or Game of Thrones final season. Moving along, another show that I really got into was Archive 81, and that is on Netflix as well. The first few episodes, it does take a second to get into it. It took me a while to get past the first 1 to 3 episodes. But this is produced by James Wan. If you don't know his work, give it a look. It's a sci-fi thriller, horror, mystery, dives into so many different realms. I got really pumped on seeing where this was going to go, and at the end of the first season, I wasn't disappointed. It reminds me kind of like Twilight Zone, and just so many other genres. You have to get past those first 3 episodes to really dive in to see what it's about. But I give this a 7.5 thus far. Hopefully, it does get a second season. I don't see it not, but we shall see what's to come. Can't give anything away. Always got to touch base on the Star Wars content that's out right now, and that is Book of Boba Fett, Episode 5. No spoilers, but it is a Mandalorian episode. It's not really a Book of Boba episode, which I don't mind at all. It just goes to show that Mandalorian is more Boba Fett than Boba Fett, actually. And I think that they should have just kept Boba Fett an acquaintance of the Mandalorian and had him bring him in from time to time and left him with a little bit more mystery. But it's out there, and I'm trying to take it all in and enjoy it, and it's added to canon, so you can't really hate too much, even though, the sequel trilogy I won't get into. But that being said, they are trying to connect the dots and kind of fix what happened in the sequels that some fans didn't like, and just really do it without having to retcon anything. So I am enjoying it. I do love who's at the reins right now for these projects, and I will continue to watch and give updates. But that episode, I give it an 8 due to the fact that it is Mandalorian, Din Djarin heavy, saturated with all of the stuff that I love from that series. Next up, I did finish the last season of Billions and started watching the new season, and I have to say, with the exit of, spoiler alert, with the exit of Damian Lewis, the show really, really lost its edge. And again, it's only the first episode in, but I can already tell with Corey Stoll taking over the reins of the main antagonist, it's just not going to have that bite to it. But I'll give it a watch this next season. Unfortunately, I don't see it going very well. They did have a great run. The pandemic hit and caused a lot of projects to go south, or just cancel or restart. It hit a lot of these shows and movies pretty hard, the production wise. So I understand Damian Lewis made a statement saying that he didn't really see any more that he could give into the character and have it extend past what he's already done. So bravo to him for giving us what we got to see, and wish you all the best in the next upcoming projects. And I'll be watching, because he does such a good job of playing an American, even though he's British, if you didn't know. Band of Brothers, when he got onto that set, a lot of the other actors were concerned about how well he was going to pull off a American soldier, and he obviously killed it. I've rewatched that series many times. So Band of Brothers on HBO, go check it out if you haven't seen it. Now, for the announcements that are coming up, there are some fun shows and movies that are coming out, sequels, as well as some shows and sequels that I'm kind of like, there's no need for that. We will start off with the announcement of Christmas Story, the sequel. It has Peter Billingsley is returning as Ralphie Parker for the sequel to the 1983 holiday classic sequel, holiday classic, A Christmas Story. According to Hollywood Reporter, Legendary and Warner Brothers have closed a deal for Billingsley to star in and produce the sequel to A Christmas Story titled A Christmas Story Christmas. Say that 3 times with your mouth full of duck. If you know, you know. Rah, 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 rah. Great ending to that movie. The sequel is directed by Clay Kaitis, The Christmas Chronicles. So a lot of hope for that. I don't mind it. This is interesting. The screenplay is done by Nick Schenk, and he did the screenplay for Gran Torino and The Mule. Wow, I mean, that is completely, totally different genres. I mean, Clint Eastwood's rough and tough and gritty is coming to write the screenplay for A Christmas Story sequel. So that's where it caught my attention massively. Not just Peter Billingsley, but the gentleman that's going to do the screenplay. That is just off the wall. I am excited to see what's going on. Another interesting part, Billingsley is not the only producer. Vince Vaughn is helping produce this. So there should be some good laughs. I think this will actually turn out to be really good. I agree with people who say you shouldn't mess with a classic, but man, how classic is this? It's like, I mean, that thing plays on repeat on Christmas and Christmas Eve, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, I got it. I do love it, but yeah, I got it. And I am excited to see where they're gonna take the story and see who returns, because that is such an old story that I am excited to see if they have any cast members that are available to return. And that is in production, and we'll start production in Hungary this February. So we shall see. We shall see. Sorry, the cat just ran across the screen there. She wants to get involved in the videos and be a part of the production and the shine and the lights and everything. One moment while I adjust here. Thank you, Teddy, for jumping in and being a co-star. All right, moving right along. Another announcement we have is for Mortal Kombat 2. That has now been fully greenlit. I mean, most people heard that it was going to come through and we were going to see what was the next chapter in this. 1 second. I think she messed the camera up a little bit. She's trying to get involved. As I was saying, yeah, so Mortal Kombat 2 has been greenlit, and it is going to, the screenwriter is going to be the writer that is doing Moon Knight, the series that is also coming out, which I'm really excited about because I like Oscar Isaac quite a bit. So as I'm intrigued, hopefully they'll step it up. I'm sure they've listened to the fans after the installment that came out on HBO Max and the theaters. It was a little lackluster in some points. I think it's just because the expectations were so high. I do like the originals. They, even though how corny and cheesy they were, I did enjoy them. And I really thought that they took a step in the right direction by going into the classic lore of Mortal Kombat and the games and the backstories. I just think they took a little bit too much time in different areas that didn't need that much attention to, and they needed to focus more on the bigger fighting scenes and some of the landscape that made Mortal Kombat so much fun to go and play in the arcade. After that, we had an announcement for a stop motion picture movie of an adaptation of Pinocchio, and that's going to be coming out on Netflix by a fun and favorite of mine, Guillermo del Toro, the director, horror genius, but he's also done some really good sci-fi stuff as well. There is a trailer out, which I'll put up here. No volume because of the copyright issues and all things like that. But I am excited to see this. I'm a big fan of stop motion, and it sounds like Ewan McGregor is doing the voice for Jiminy Cricket. I think that that's true. I didn't really look into that, but I should, and I'll follow up. But I mean, you can't really go wrong with Ewan McGregor, right? Gotta love it. The next one that I saw that's coming out, and this one, throw it in the bin. Why? Why Disney? Come on, man. They're doing a live action version movie of Aristocrats. How do we not learn the lesson from the musical came out, Cats? That's all I can see right now. I mean, how are you going to do it differently? I don't know. They said they're going to take a different approach, but I'm not going to give this a lot of time. And if it comes out and blows my mind, I'll do a review on it. But I don't see this going well. Disney, yeah, put that back in the bin. We don't need that. Leave it as what we saw in the animation version, and I'm happy with that. Also coming up, Godzilla TV show. This is coming out on Apple TV Plus. Man, the CGI is going to have to be on super point. I don't really see it going too well, because if you spend a bunch of money on certain parts of the CGI or certain parts of the background, the sets and everything like that, it'll inevitably take away from the storyline and vice versa. So I mean, if they're not going to show a lot of Godzilla and it's just going to be kind of in the background, they have a couple of shots here and there, then again, it takes away from the story. You need both. And I do believe that the MonsterVerse has done it really well thus far. And this is a continuation of the MonsterVerse. It is attached, it is canon. So it's going to be interesting, and hopefully it does go well. But yeah, that's got some time before that comes out. I'm sure it's going to take a couple of years for that to be fully complete and ready to be put out there. And I'm sure they're going to do something like 4 to 6 episodes, because that is a massive project to take on for any company. The next one, this one I'm super pumped about. I was a huge fan of Vikings, that was on the History Channel. The seasons that came out on there, the production on that were just so well done. The casting was immaculate. The voice trainers that are the accent trainers and language trainers, they did such an amazing job with the actors to make it sound really authentic, even though, I mean, I don't super know what authentic would be, but from the background, from the lineage and the ancestry, I think that they did a really, really good job. This is going to be set over 1,000 years ago in the 11th century, but also set 100 years after the Vikings that we saw on History. So 100 years after all of those characters have passed on. But this is going to be thousands of years ago in the 11th century. Vikings Valhalla is going to be the title of it. Chronicles is going to follow the chronicles of the heroic adventures of some of the most famous Vikings out there. And that is, I believe the character's name is Leif Erikson. He is headstrong and fiery, and he's going to be everything that the Vikings that we love is bringing back to the screen. And he's got a whole new entourage, and they're taking on England once again. So we will see how that's going. Again, it's done by Netflix, so I'm sure they have the money to pump out something good. Hopefully doesn't derive too much from the production value that the History Channel did, because it was extremely accurate. And even though a lot of it was stretched out for fiction, I hope that they kind of follow those same guidelines and see where that goes. And let's see what else is coming out. The next thing that I wanted to talk about after all of those announcements is just a little message for friends, family, and everyone out there that's kind of going through it. I've noticed we've had some friends and family pass on due to the pandemic, as well as just other incidents, because I think that everyone's really pushing to live life right now in the moments that you can and the little breaks. So just make sure you reach out to each other and tell each other how much you love each other. And in the words of Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan, be excellent to each other. All right. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Peace.